Hello, welcome back to Derail Valley with Freddy. So, carrying on where we left off. Time for repairs. Ooh, wrong button. Okay, so, topping up our DH4. See how much that lovely journey's cost us. Total of 7,000. So, DE6 for the final time on this one anyway. That's cost us practically nothing. So 10,000 total. Cheap as chips. There we go, that's that sorted. I keep doing that. Okay, so today's episode, what we're going to do, we're going to park up this DE6 directly opposite. I'm going to park the DH4 over there. In fact, I'm not going to park the DH4. I stand corrected. We're going to need the DH4 to pull out the museum DE6. So as it is night time, and it's not best doing this in the dark because for some reason the lights in here don't like working properly. Really annoying, because as you can see there is lights and it's dark. Oh well. So we shall fire up the DH4. Not too many times now you're actually going to see that lovely DH4 view. You'll start seeing the D6. I think the handbrake's off. Soon figure that out when I put it into reverse. We are moving. That is good news. Oh, we will incur one last lot of fees on the D6, but it's going to be minor because it's literally just moving it across here. So that'll do quite nicely for us. Say cheerio to this D6 because it will despawn once the fees are cleared. Don't worry, it's not the last you're going to see of D6s, because we are going to pull forward once I get in the cab. Park her up on the turntable. Race over to the office and realise we've got 20,000 that we need to pay. What this 20,000 is for is parts installations. One for the D6, one for the 282. So I'm not going to worry about doing up the 282 right now because of cost more than anything. Because just doing up this D6 is going to cost us around 200,000. Now I apologise if there's some fan noise to this video. Unfortunately it is hot as hell in the UK right now. Some people may be saying, well, it's not that bad, your temperature's not that bad. It may only be 26 degrees Celsius in the UK, but it feels more like 45. Trust me, I know on that one. I've been places that are 45 degrees Celsius. UK summer is horrible. That's freaking miles away. That'll reach. Keep it rolling. It's only temporary anyway. Brake off. Not worried about the brake cut out, that should still be engaged. Pull forward. This thing is horrible to manoeuvre because it is all knackered. Yep, that's nice and clear. Right. Round to the service bay, which is this one. I'm going to reverse her in. Yay, I hit the right button first time. Miracle for everything. Now I know some people may be wondering, when is going to be the end of this series? My plan currently is to end once we've achieved all licenses and made, I'd say, a good 3 million. I think that's a nice round number. Until more content is released. I have a couple of ideas in mind for what my next series is going to be. Not 100% sure yet, I'm still in the deciding phase. I'm possibly looking with the imminent release of Survival for Space Engineers 2. A game I absolutely adore. Alright, put the handbrake on this one. We're not going to need the DH4 for this next bit. So we can go park it up. Now I'll let you see, because I'm going to fit all the components to the DE6. But as I've shown that in a previous video, I'm not going to bore you to death with it. I'll just get it done off camera and give you an overview after it's done. So I'm going to reverse the DH4 into this base, so it's next to where I'm going to be working on the DE6. For the reason being, I'm going to take the clock, the speedo, the brake sensor out of the DH4 and put it in the DE6 until we get back up to goods factory, where those parts are located and I can buy them again. Now I can refit them to the DH4. So I'm not going to take the brackets out, just the parts itself. So for now, I'm just going to park this old girl. Up in here, we should go handbrake on. So it's a good idea, as it's realistic, to kill the air pressure. Should turn off these lights as well. Leave the cab light on. Right, okay. So, this is where we're going to see a lot of the 699,000 we've got left vanish very quickly. Obviously it's quite hard to do this. Where is it? It's quite hard to do this in the dark. Of course, everything is absolutely stuffed on this thing. It is going to cost, as you can see, the running totals on each one. It's 50,000 for the first one. Now if you've not fitted the parts, it will not let you do this stage. You've got to fit the parts before you try and repair it, otherwise it won't recognise it as a train. So just a heads up for those that are playing along with this game as well. As you can see, doing the DE6, because it is a very, very powerful train, repairing it from scratch is expensive. That big one, diesel, and it has a big diesel tank, which is why it's now going to become the primary. So that's that all done. Don't need that one. As you can see, $206,715. Ouchie. As it says, our next job is to repaint and repair. I have a quick run across. I'm not sure what time of night it is. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Shot well past there. So we're going to need 2 paint, 1 DVRT and 1 demonstrator. Purely because that's the paint scheme I'm going for. As you can see, the other parts I bought. Got 2 extra red lights and a load of solder whilst we were at City West when we were passing by. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause quickly so that you can see the paint scheme in daylight. I'm back in a minute. And back. So we have daylight, as you can see, a lot brighter in here, and we can see our very beat up DE6. I'll just swap this round a little bit because it's not quite where I want it to be. There we go. Okay, so first things first, sanding. So that's the outside sanded. Actually want you to go in. I've got to do the inside as well because that looks horrible on the inside. Now there is an argument with the DE6 for leaving it just in a sanded state because it doesn't look half bad. You know, I could definitely think of worse colour schemes, but I definitely think we can do better. So, for the outside, we are going to go demonstrator. And that is what the outside of the DE6 looks like with demonstrator paint. If I use DVRT paint on the outside, it would just look like a clean version of this colour scheme without the streaking. Very neat, very tidy, but that colour scheme, I kind of like that a bit more. I'm trying to remember actually now whether I want demonstrator or DVRT in here. I'm thinking it's demonstrator actually. Give me 2 seconds, I'm going to test. Okay, and I forgot, for my realistic playthrough, it auto saves when you make a change. So this is what DVRT looks like inside. I'm sort of... yeah, I think it was demonstrator I wanted actually. So thankfully the DVRT paint isn't too expensive. The demonstrator one is. DVRT paint is 15,000 per can. Demonstrator is 30,000 per can. Oh, we're going to need sand again, aren't we? Right. Thankfully sanding cheap. I think we're going to need to sand it. And there is a couple of bits missing that I haven't picked up yet that I'm wanting. I'm wanting a shelf for the recharge. With this paint. And with the demonstrator. Yes, it was the demonstrator one I wanted. You can see it's a sort of textured white, which I think shows up better for the controls. And looks quite nice as well. And we get a nice funky blue door that we can't actually go through. Pity, but that's what it is. Right, okay. I shall pause the video here, get all my parts fitted, and I shall bring you back once that's done. See you in a minute. Okay, so welcome back. That has taken most of the day to do. It was 7 o'clock in the morning when I started. But we have our distance tracker. We've got our internal red lights all set up. One here, one there. Got our external extra headlights. Take you out the front, and yep. Knock those down. In typical Derail Valley fashion, it is raining. We've got our brake meter, speedo, switch setter, clock, and around the corner here, got the anti-wheel slip computer, overheat protection set to 105 degrees Celsius, which on the temp, yep, 105 is where it redlines, so that's where we want to stop as well. We've got our amp protection because this one runs more on amps, so that's set for 12. That's set there on 12. Awesome. So we are fully ready now to go. Our standard driving position is going to be here. So you're going to be able to see the clock, distance tracker. It's only a little switch. Obviously with the DE6 we've got a lot less visibility. But that's what it is. There is nothing we can do about that. That is what it is on the game. As you can see, this thing picks up like a beast. So we're going to pull forward, sit on the turntable, rotate round, and we're going to put the DE6 behind us. So flick it into reverse now. Yeah, you got the right one first time. Haha. So brake off. Some touches of throttle because this thing picks up really, really fast when you want it to. Leave the amps on, it will just go. The last thing we want to be doing is causing damage. Now you may be wondering why I've put the recharge on the DE6 when the DE6 cannot be controlled wirelessly. Well, with the DE4 sat behind it, we can actually use the blue cable on the wireless controller set to the DH4 and it will actually control the DE6. Oh, didn't want to do that. This one we want. There we go. Right, obviously we're going to have to put the brake cutouts on that one. And brake off. So to give you an example, a wireless controller, as I've already checked, does work. Should work. There we go. Because it's inputting the controls to the rear DH4, those controls through that blue cable is being transferred to the DE6. Haha! So we still have wireless control capability. Excellent. So that is us now, set and ready to go. Our lovely new combination. Isn't it pretty? We are ready to hit the rails and go make some money. Unfortunately, it is freaking throwing it down. As per usual. And the sound inside here, inside the museum, is horrendous for the rain. Our first maiden voyage. I haven't set that properly. Sure, I wired that in. Just going to double check that. The easy way to do it whilst we're here. Actually, take and throw that in the bin. I hate mess. Fortunately, there's not a skip round here, so I've been using this bin. As you can tell, gone through quite a bit. We are nearly out of solder again. Just want to double check that switch set it is actually wired up before we get out of here. Yep, it is wired up, because otherwise it would be saying left click to solder. Okay. What we'll do, switch the engine off quickly. Handbrake on. Sure it's level, but don't want to take chances. I'm going to have a quick look over in the station office, see if there's any decent jobs out of here. Because so far, all I've done is use a lot of solder and a lot of brackets. Yipes. So we need to, as we're down to just under 500,000, we need to make a lot of money. What I'm tempted to do, with the rear DH4 now, I'm tempted to put these 4 lights on the back. Because if we're going to be using the DH4, it's going to be for shunting in the yard, so we don't need the big headlights. I think it'd be handy on the back to illuminate the load, or at least part of it. If I'm going to do that, I'll do it off camera between episodes, and we'll see how it goes. Obviously we're heading towards night time. There's nothing good here. We're just going to head straight down to the harbour, have a sleep, and see what's in there in the morning. We've got one job to food factory in town. Yeah, that pays abysmally. Wood scrap to sawmill. Drop off from City South that we brought in, 15,000. And a pickup job going to sawmill as well for 10,000. Yeah, there's nothing of worth here. Let's have a look at our fees quickly. 63 bucks, we may as well clear that. And we know our fees are clear because we're using museum vehicles 100% now. We will not incur any further fees. But it does mean we have to manual service everywhere. There is no choice but the manual service. Now I do want to get, although I can't see a gauge for it on the DH4, I do want to pick up an amp meter for it, which I'm going to mount probably down here, out of the way, just to protect it when we're running it. As you can see, I've removed the bits from in here. When we pick them up, all it's going to cost us is to put them back on and resolder them in. So we need more solder anyway. Not a big issue. And as we're going to be primarily driving the DE6 now, it is far less of an issue for us. watch those. I put the handbrake on, didn't I? So, our first run, empty. Down to harbour. As you can see, this thing really likes to pick up the speed. Not even halfway up the throttle there. We're already doing 40. How awesome. So it means we've got the majority power unit now. There's one thing left to get for this DE6, and that's going to be the DE6 slug. Now I need to actually figure out how to use that thing properly, because I've never used it, but apparently it is good. It helps get more traction down for the DE6. So I'll be looking at how that works, and in a future episode we'll definitely look at getting that fitted to this DE6 and operational with it. Also, VR episode is still coming. Due for some time off from my job very, very soon. So I'm actually going to look at getting that done for whilst I'm off, and I've got more time to mess around and make sure it's all working, mic's all set up, and we can get all that done properly. Not heard my switch setter going off yet, which is quite disturbing. Let's get the hammer down a little bit. Get through this bit. We'll drive down the harbour, have a quick sleep, and see what jobs there are. Now I have noticed through my dashboard on YouTube that the shorter videos, not the hour-long ones, have been doing better. So I'm going to try and keep the videos a bit short. That will mean some jump cuts here and there, but the shorter videos do tend to be doing a little bit better. So we'll look to try and keep the episode time length down a little, and we shall see how that goes. Obviously some of the runs I like to show off some of the train movement, but when it's horrible like this, it's not exactly fun for you guys. That's not the normal brake there, that's the dynamic brake. Just how strong that dynamic brake is. Oh. The dynamic brake on the DE6 is much better than the DH4. I know you may be asking, why didn't I switch before? I was waiting for the museum DE6 because we can kit it out properly. We're not spending a fortune in solder then. It's ours, we can lay it out the way we want. And we're going to have this for a while. If we need extra power, we can plug another DH4 or another DE6 into this. It's easy done. We can pull some real serious weight if we really want to. Alright, my switch setter should go off soon, telling us which way the switch is. Should. It is not. Oh, yes it is. I tell porkies. And the switch is set correctly. So that's awesome, that works. It's just a quick flick up and down to get between the clock and the distance tracker, so that's awesome. Everything else we need to see is right within view. Excellent. And we know this hill. Done it that many times. It is a 40. It says 60, but you do not want to be exceeding 40 down here. As he exceeds 40. Hold on the dynamic brake now. Back off one. As you can see, it really takes some ampage on this dynamic brake. You really put some power into it compared to the DH4. The DH4, it's handy, but the DE6 is just so much better on the dynamic brake. And that's only level 2. Level 3, we're holding very, very comfortably there. What I'm actually going to do, I'm going to have a stop off here. Oh, there's wheel slip. Quick pop across, because if I remember rightly, we bought the military 2 license. And some of the military jobs actually pay a freaking fortune. Here we go. This is what I mean by the Hazmat 3 and military 3 license. 3 trailers that's apparently 261 tons. Going up to the military base, 120,000. Oh look, military base, 142,000 for 72 tons. Machine factory, military base, 26,000 just for military trucks. That's military 2 license, but over on the end here. Wow. And oh look, what's this? 2 pickups, 348 tons going up to the military base because it's a load. Pick up from 2, load it, park it in 1, 74,000. This is what I mean. That is a military 3 and a hazmat 3 though. Something I've got to watch. I've only got the military 2 license if I remember rightly. Yeah, there's not a computer in it. So what we'll do, because I think we're going to be heading up to the military base. I don't think we can turn down that sort of money. Getting to the fuel cut off on the DE6 can be a bit of a pain. I think we'll engage the brake there. The only problem with the military base, you want to get up to 40 for getting up that hill. You do not want to be going slower, because otherwise you may not make it. This is quite a tight little turn. I think it's a 40 turn if I remember rightly. We'll have a quick look as the speed limits are here. No, it's a 30. So you've got a 30, then you've got that short run up before you hit the climb on a 1.2. Yeah, you've got to watch what you're hauling. So it could well be worth pick up from the military base, pull out, pull into C, reverse up, get the remainder of your train and get the best run up you can. But it does mean you've got a long run to hand in the military job. So what we'll do, we'll head over here. I'll have a look at the weather forecast because I've not actually had a look. And we shall see what is what and what we could possibly do along with heading up to the military base. Because we are definitely going up there. The amount of money that's going to earn us, it is worth the journey. It is worth the climb. and the majority of it is uphill. The other thing you can do, if I pull up the map quickly, as we're coming this way, we could reverse in, pull forward and go up this way, up towards military base, and either branch off this way or come in coal mine east, loop round because it is a loop, then back up because military base is up here. It's very isolated, but you've got iron mine east there, so you can pair two jobs together. Most of iron, well, pretty much all of iron mine east will go steel mill, but you can loop round down to steel mill and loop back round to harbour, because the military base will either be going machine factory or harbour. Those are your main two for that. So at steel mill you can branch off, go to machine factory, or you can loop back to the harbour. So there's always options, there's always a plan B. There's always jobs now we can link together and do big old trains. And we've got a couple of jobs going to machine factory in town actually that I see right there. Iron ore mine west, that's over that way. No good for us at the moment. If it was iron ore mine east, we'd be all over that like a hot rash. Coal mine east, what's that paying? Not the best. Okay, what I'll do is I'll end the episode here as we prepare now for doing our first proper military contract. I shall have a look at jobs. We shall see what we're doing, plan accordingly. In the next episode we'll execute that plan and see how we get on. Until then, take it easy.